Pat. Glad we got two. I'm putting my speakers on it, so.
Angela, are you remote too?
No, I'm at the town. Ed is ill and I'm supposed to be doing it, but I need to get my computer set up with speakers and stuff. So, and I have a hard stop at 9:15 actually, so.
Well, I've got a problem as well. And if I can get, I sent Ed a note. But I want to record this meeting. I'm supposed to be doing the notes. And I
Yeah.
want to record the meeting because if I get this phone call from my neurologist, I'm going to take it.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's okay. I think the meeting will be recorded anyway. So
It's recorded anyway, right?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then I can just access that in the cloud.
Yeah, I want to put a different speaker on, microphone on here. So just let me get set up because I can't afford not to be set up properly.
Angela. Hey, Angela.
Does everyone else have the current agenda? I keep bringing up January's. Oh, wait.
Morning, Gary.
I keep muting.
Okay.
So the question I had is, I have a 1-month-old agenda. Does everyone have the current one? Uh-oh.
So where's my, let me call the meeting to order.
Ed, you're on mute.
Wait. Oh, sorry, on me. No, the link I have is also January.
Good.
Gary, can you hear me? Or is that better? That's going to echo. That doesn't work.
Can everyone hear me?
I think
I can hear.
people can hear
Yes,
us.
I can hear you.
Larry.
Thank you, Mary. Mary Hefty has joined us in the schoolhouse. I'm going to call the meeting to order. And as I call the meeting to order, Ed is not chairing the meeting. I am Angela Hay, and I would like to acknowledge that the town of Portola Valley acknowledges the colonial history of this land we dwell upon, the unceded territory of the Ramaytush Ohlone Tamian Nation and the Mawekma Ohlone, who endured a human and cultural genocide that included removal from their lands and their sacred relationship to the land. Portola Valley recognizes that we profit from the commodification of land seized from indigenous peoples and now bear the ecological consequences. We seek to understand the impact of these legacies on all beings and to find ways to make repair. And with that, I will start the meeting and ask for a roll call.
I think Angela, start with yourself.
I am Angela Hay, and I am chairing the meeting today, normally secretary.
Ed Holland,
Pat Bainan, I see. Are you here?
you're muted, Pat.
Pat, you're muted.
Yes.
Pat Bainan.
Okay, very good. We have a quorum. Is anyone else? Kevin is not here. Okay.
Gary Haynes is here.
Oh, hi, Gary.
Kevin's here.
I can't see. Oh, Gary has a bicycle. Okay, I can see
Yeah.
bicycle. Okay, so Gary is present too. So we have 4 people. That's a quorum.
I'm here. Angela.
Oh, Kevin's the phone. Okay, very good. Kevin Welch is here too. So item 2 on the agenda, oral communications for items not on the agenda. Does anyone have any oral communications? Ed?
I do. I have a couple of brief things to say. The first of which is to welcome Mary as our council liaison. Thank you very much, Mary, just stepping up for this. And we really look forward to working with you.
What's Mary's last name?
Hufty.
How do I spell that?
Mary Hufty. She's our one of our new council members.
Hufty.
Thank you.
The second is, I know there have been a few questions over procedure on other matters recently surrounding town and town committee meetings. I've had a very good liaison in discussions, both already with Mary and also with Craig Taylor. And I know in discussion with Craig last week, he urges any of you with concerns to reach out to him directly. I can share his contact details with you, or if you have them already. He was very willing to listen to us and think about what the next steps might be to make our committees and commissions processes more fluid and engaging. So I will stop there. Thank you.
There's another hand up from a phone. I think that might be Kevin. Can you say?
Angela, it's Caroline Vertongen.
Oh, Caroline Vertongen. Okay.
Good morning, committee members. I just wanted to reiterate, this is the 3rd year that I have filed or submitted my application for this committee. And again, Chair Holland is in discussion with the mayor and promised to reveal the approval or not the approval pretty soon. I also wanted to thank the committee for finally putting one of our elements of the general plan on the agenda. I don't know why this has not come to this committee before, but I'm very happy that you guys are finally looking at the circulation element. Thank you so much.
The next one is Dana Breen.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, but speak up.
Okay. I just looking at the agenda that was posted, it's for the month of January. Where is your agenda for this meeting? Thank you.
You know what? I'm reading the wrong agenda. That's true. Was our January meeting cancelled? Is that why we have the January event? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That's why
It was.
our January meeting was cancelled, which is why we have the January agenda. So the next thing is the approval of minutes, December the 7th, 2022, and November the 2nd had to be amended. Can I have a motion to approve those minutes?
And approve the minutes.
Seconded.
So that was Kevin approving and Ed
Yes,
seconding. And is there
correct.
any discussion? If the all in favor say aye.
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 Anyone against? The motion passes. The sheriff's report. We don't have a sheriff here. Howard,
I'm here right now.
Yes, we do. I
Yeah, we
think
have
we-
Pete
Here we
Taylor.
do. Patrick's here.
oh yes, sorry, Pat Taylor. Sorry, I didn't recognize. Sorry.
That's okay, I understand.
So yes, can we have the sheriff's report with starting with a review of the citations, please?
And I know we've had a few months removed, and I forwarded the information. I wasn't sure if the information got to the committee this time, but I forwarded it to Edward Holland this morning again and Gary Nielsen in an attempt to make sure it got through to everybody. But do you want all existing months, or do you want me just to start with from December?
Well, in November and December will be fine.
Okay, in November, we had 0 moving citations, 25 parking citations, and that was it for and no accidents in the month of November. And I think I'm in discussions with the town right now about the current survey that's been conducted. That would help us do speed surveys and speed traffic in the city or the town of Portola Valley when that survey is conducted and completed. But I'm in discussions with Howard and Jeremy on that. We're trying to figure out when that's going to be completed so we can start enforcement again with radar and LiDAR. Let's see. For December, we had 3 moving citations and no parking citations. I think a lot of the guys were focused on South County with the holidays and with Fair Oaks with those areas. And there was no accidents in December for the whole town of Portola Valley. So
Thank you very much. Now, are there any requests for officer coverage? I know we need coverage at school hours sometimes when the traffic's speeding towards the school. I'm glad you're getting the LiDAR and radar. That should help keep the traffic calm. Do we have any other requests for officer coverage or attention? Christy, you have your hand up. Christy Corley.
Yes, thank you. I'm really interested with our future housing that's coming in, which also brings in vehicle miles traveled and increased cars, that we get real clear on accidents. And I was concerned that when there was an accident, and there's been many at Golden Oak and Alpine and Golden Oak and Los Trancos, I hear them, I run out there, I help them. But if there's no blood, it is not recorded. So I have requested that the sheriff contract put in it that we want all accidents, even when phones are thrown and no blood occurs, an accident still occurred. And maybe that person's going to the hospital for the neck injury, the back injury in a week. But at the moment, it didn't occur. So I was told by the sheriff that it would not be recorded for our town. We're trying to get an idea of our hotspots for traffic and fix it before we increase traffic. So this is why it's so important to know all accidents. And I'm a little confused by when we enforce again. So are you telling us you're not enforcing in November and December since we had zero movement?
No, so two things, let me answer both those questions. One is, accidents are recorded even if there's no blood. I don't know who would tell you that that's not
They
accurate.
did tell me that to
Okay.
my face, yeah.
So if something like that happens, feel free to call me, Jeremy, and all of them have my email or my phone number for my desk line. So feel free to do that if you have that interaction. If it's a non-injury accident and both parties decide they don't want to report the accident to law enforcement, they can do a private party transfer of information and not have an accident recorded. That's their own decision to do that.
No, I was told by the sheriff it'll never be recorded if there's no blood, so.
That's inaccurate. So please let
Okay.
me know who it was that you talked to that day, if you can remember, and I'll find out for you who it was and inform them. The other issue is the survey needs to be completed before we can enforce any LiDAR or radar. That's a regulation to the state. That's something that we don't determine. That's so that each town has to do that on their own. They have to have an engineering road survey. Otherwise, we can't enforce speeds other than what's called prima facie speed, which is a speed determined based on the safety of the roadway. And so without a survey telling us what the appropriate speed is for that area, we can't enforce the speed in that zone.
So whose responsibility is this survey to get summarized? I believe it already went out and we've given.
Yeah, I know Jeremy Dennis and Howard Young were working on a survey. I know it was completed and there were some discrepancies on it or something like that. So they were working on that to get that set up properly. Once that's done, we have plenty of people here that work in your town that want to go out there and make sure the roadways are safe and that the speed is appropriate. So as soon as that's done, then we can do that. We can enforce with using LiDAR and radar in the area. So
I feel like we're not using our share of contract if we don't get this going. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Christy. Caroline, is your hand still up? When you've spoken, if you can remove your hand and take it down, that's helpful. Caroline, do you have a question for for Pat? No, I think not. Okay, any other questions?
No, I do. I'm sorry. I do, Angela.
Go ahead.
So this is for the sheriff. With previous sheriffs in town, we have reported to this committee several accidents that were not on the report. One particular accident, for instance, at the Priory, and then the result of that was that the law enforcement agent who was there was not properly trained. I hope under your contract or your jurisdiction, you have officers that are fully trained to write a citation or to properly investigate any accidents. Thank you.
I can address that for you real quick. Actually, all officers who go through the basic academy, it's a 6-month academy, you receive basic accident investigation in the academy. So if you guys run into something like that where an officer tells you they're not trained to take an accident, please feel free to contact the supervisor, because everybody has basic accident investigation training to the academy, so they know how to do a basic accident investigation. If not, there's always someone on duty with the sheriff's office who can take an accident So there's an accident that needs to be reported or a report is requested and you're not getting that service, please feel free to contact the office. You can either call my number, which is 650-363-4316, or you can call the Sam 10 office as the sergeant on duty, and that's 650-363-4680. So you can email me also. So if you're not getting the service you guys are asking for, feel free to contact us. You know, within the confines of what we can do, we will make sure that that gets taken for you.
Thank you. Ed,
Thank you. I have one comment to make about an accident that I don't believe has been reported. If I'm correct, and I'm not sure if I heard your report correctly, Patrick, so if that's not correct, I apologize. I think it was late December. I was traveling home from work on Portola Road. I think it was either at Portola and Wayside or Portola and Santa Maria. There was a 2-vehicle incident that closed the road for a brief time. Is that not counted in Portola Valley in that area, or is that something you're not aware of? Because there were definitely crews in attendance.
Yeah, I didn't have that accident in our accident investigation sheet, so I can look in to see if that was unreported, but private property damage, or if the accident occurred on a non-roadway or was obstructing or something like that, we would usually take an accident. If it was on a private property or something.
No, it was obstructing Portola Road. 2 cars had collided.
Yeah, so that would be an accident that typically would be reported. So if you can give me the dates and times of that, I can look into it. So I'll look into any accidents in December, but I don't have anything reported here. And usually it's a 10-day window for us to get those things.
Okay, yes, I beg your pardon. We're into February now, though, so please let us know.
Should be plenty of time for that, right? In 10 days. So I'll check into it again, but I did the numbers twice just to make sure and nothing came up. So
I have another question. There was a accident on the Skyline Drive, and part of the Skyline Drive is Portola Valley. And I think it was either end of October or November. Do you track and report here accidents on the Skyline Drive when they're near Portola Valley?
yes, the issue we have with Skyline is that a lot of times those accidents get reported to CHP and then they don't come up in our log because they have a different reporting system. So if it ends up through a CHP report or something like that, then I wouldn't have record of that in my database because it's just through the California Highway Patrol. So
okay, I got it off firedispatch.com for your information. I'm monitoring when the ambulance goes out. So
yeah, so it was probably reported to the sheriff's office in CHP, who typically patrols Highway 35 up on top. They're the ones who probably took the report. I'm not saying we didn't respond, but they probably took the report.
okay, thank you. Any more questions for the sheriff's officer? Thank you very much, Pat. We appreciate your coming to our meeting. Thank you.
All right, again, if you guys have any questions, always feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is the Public Works update from Howard. Go ahead, Howard.
Thank you. So I'm gonna go through some quick items here. The first is on BPTS items or traffic items in town. We haven't received any reported major issues over the last several months. We've checked the standard areas, the Westridge near Alamos, Golden Oaks near Alpine for Alpine and parking, Creek Park Drive, and along Portola Road, and really haven't seen anything significant. Creek Park Drive, from Alpine in will experience 1 or 2 cars at the end of the cul-de-sac from what I've seen. But if anyone's seen anything else different, please email me. We'll move on to, so other than that, I haven't heard any major traffic items, but it is winter time and we did go through a storm. The next items is on next year's resurfacing project. I've been working on the design and administration of that. We are getting some grants through the federal government, and that requires us going through Caltrans, which requires a lot of submittals. So the section that I think I've mentioned before at a previous meeting is on Westridge Drive between Cervantes and Ford Field, Alpine Road. So it'd be Cervantes east at the east end where it meets Westridge, and then on Westridge going all the way down when it hits Alpine onto Ford Field. So that's the area that we're looking into resurfacing. It's a smaller area than we usually do 10 to 15 streets, a slurry seal project, but this project is more of an overlay, asphalt overlay and deep lift project. So it's going to be much more extensive on the surface due to the surface. The other thing I wanted to mention is, the town's working on field renovations all winter. A lot of the times agencies do it during the summer, but we're trying to save water and doing it in the winter, and there's a little bit of risk. So those things are moving along, and fields are opening in February for soccer and baseball. What we've really concentrated on is, and you've probably seen since December 25th, it was really just storm recovery, storm prep, and storm recovery again. And before I get too further along, I just wanted to acknowledge on our Public Works Committee, Bob Boyle, that went out and helped us at night and on the weekends. And we are looking for new people to help. Kevin Welch, helping us in the evening on fallen trees. So essentially weeks and weeks of storm prep and recovery, checking culverts with staff. The fire mitigation team also helped us too. We had a private contractor help us in keeping the storm drain system clear. It was number one, and clear and functional. So sand and sandbags, you probably noticed we gave out 5,000 plus sandbags during the time. I think sandbags were hard to get. I think we gave away $5,000-6,000 worth of sand. Also, I've never seen sand disappear from our pile that fast. So I think we've served the community that way. And I think a lot of the people came from outside of the area too and got sand and sandbags. You noticed some landslide and some mud. So those are the things that we've cleared up. We didn't have many road closures. The only road closures we had was Upper Alpine. The first storm came through and we got things cleaned up right away. No road closures. And we cleaned up Upper Alpine. The second wave of storms that came through, that caused the bigger mudslides on Upper Alpine. The state of emergency allows us to get funds through the state and the federal government, hopefully. And so there is some paperwork that goes with that. That's going to cover some costs that the town went through. During that time, also, the emergency evacuation gates.
I will make a copy before I send it.
The emergency evacuation gates were opened on Los Trancos that comes through the ranch at Valley Oak. We've coordinated with the folks at Vista Verde and unincorporated San Mateo County, the neighborhood up there, and kept communications open with their emergency prep chair, and balancing out, messages to the community, fire, sheriff, and residents on our action items in the storms and prep and keeping our roads clear. And so we still have to deal with some aftermath stuff of a lot of the fallen trees we've cleared out. We've just pushed to the side of the road. So you may see some tree debris there, but that we're slowly collecting. We're determining whether the trees are public or private. We're moving to trail items. I know there was something like 12 trees down on our trails. So we're moving to those items next slowly. And, we are getting requests trickling through of drainage items and resident items too, concerning their drainage from their property or onto their property or between properties. So we're getting those on a daily basis because of the storm. Just to give you an idea, on our PV Connect app, currently there's 99 requests that we received, and we've completed 66 of them so far. So that's storm related items. I'd like to move on to fire mitigation crew items, just to let you know we have a fire mitigation program that we are contracted out to Woodside Fire. We have a crew that's working, and they're working on Los Trancos and continuing on Golden Oaks now. We sent out notices to do the second half of Golden Oaks.
You mute yourself if you're not speaking, please. Gary, I think Gary Nielsen, if you could mute yourself, then That's helpful.
Wasn't aware I was saying anything.
No, I think it was your thing that was making something. Okay.
I think does anyone have any questions before I move on to after general update to items B and C on what I have reported so far?
Christy. Christy Corley, you've got your
Yeah,
hand.
thank you. Can you be more, you said there was 12 trees down on trails. Can you let us know how many trees came down on roads as well? I just want to get an idea of the total, what happened with both storms in a very, I'm concerned about the roads people drive on a regular basis. Trails, also, I saw a lot of trails being washed out. I was at the bottom of Golden Oak on the other side, not the Alpine swim and tennis side, but the other side. Walking down, there's a big culvert under the road. I smelled sewage. I went over to the water main. I went over to the sewage and bent down, trying to see if it's coming from that round thing. And it wasn't, it was coming from the culvert, the smell. So I'm concerned about sewage going into water and then water going into Los Trancos and then Los Trancos going out. I don't know where it goes next. But if it ends up in the bay, it's not ideal if our sewage and water combine. And when I did hear a news report that when it gets too high, there is a possibility. And I'm wondering if you could explain how our culvert, not culvert, because that's where the wood things are, but how our system works for sewage. And we know that we have, I don't know if it's 40%, 50%, 60% septic system. So often those will get overflowed and they'll end up where they shouldn't. So can you go over the drainage system when there is such an extreme storm like this and what happens with sewage and water? I also saw an overflow of water behind Roberts going into the unnamed creek back there. It was a water main, but it was flowing out into the unnamed creek, which eventually gets to Los Trancos.
Okay, so I'll attempt to handle. I got everything listed here. So number one, the number of trees, I think on main roads that fell across, I believe it was 3 or 4, and those were cleared almost immediately or the next day. And those could be some private trees or public trees that came down across the road, and they came down at any, sometimes in the middle of the night. So I believe that's a question. Concerning sewers, a couple of things. Number one, of course, no sewers should be going into the natural storm drain. If you do witness that or smell that, I would encourage you to place that on PV Connect so we can immediately go out and take a look at it. Number three, kind of an overview of the drainage system and the sewer system. So West Bay Sanitary handles the sewer system, the installed sewer system. They're another public agency, and that's a closed system. So I have not heard of any issues during the storms concerning West Bay Sanitary District. And if you do see something related to that, you could please call West Bay Sanitary District. They have emergency response also. On the septics, a certain percentage, majority of the town, I believe, still has septic. The big storm that came through, of course, I think exposed or not exposed or helped people realize that the capacity of their storm drains, the capacity of their ditches, and maintenance of those storm drains and ditches are important. For many years, we had a drought. So, and I'm not saying to any particular property, but a lot of the times, a lot of people dumped leaves and branches into those storm drains and miscellaneous materials. We found play balls, tires, clogging up our storm drains. So our storm drain is a natural storm drain system that we don't have easements. Many times we don't have easements through people's properties, so they have to maintain those ditches, creeks, and pipes. And a lot of the private homeowners through the decades may have modified those things. So I think the question of how does our storm drain system work, it's basically, it's a natural storm drain system that consists of public and private property pipes that eventually lead to the two creeks that we have in town, going down to the peninsula and going down towards the ocean. It's a very big topic that if you want to find out more, you probably should call me and we can go over that. Probably not enough time here to go over that. Does that satisfy you, your answer, question?
Yes, thank you. I do want to, I would like to get a picture of those maps. And I noticed on the financial report that that was done recently. The river and storm drain maps, or at least the named and unnamed rivers. I don't think I've never seen them.
I don't know where you're talking. We did not have additional maps done. So if you could point it out to me exactly where, maybe there's a miscommunication somewhere or misunderstanding, but
Okay.
if you can email me, then I'll gladly email you our storm drain map.
Okay, so often in I'm gonna call it the swales, like say in front of, right by Ramey's and my property, there's a swale that got filled up with dirt and it's right along the road outside my fence. So I went out and I'm digging it. So, and the swale went from a V to nothing. And last year or the year before, we lost an oak there because water sits there when it doesn't drain properly. So how can we get our swales, our natural drain system, back to V's? It's a silly question, but I'm out there and I'm not strong enough. I just I just did something to my wrist. I shouldn't be out there doing that in the making those V's. So not only clearing the culverts, but we need to take care of our V storm drains that are natural on a more continual basis. And I would say November, get ready for December and all of that as well. And that would be my suggestion. Because now there's weeds growing in it and it's outside my property, but I have to keep it flowing or I will lose another oak tree down there. And I was afraid another oak tree would go down and it didn't, but it was sitting in water and I'm trying to get it to drain, but it's really the Public Works and I'd appreciate help on that. Thank you.
So Christy, to answer your question concerning the overflows, when you did call or text me concerning the drain in front of Ramey's, we did immediately go out and take a look at it and it was functional. During the downpour, everything it was inundated with water, how much rain that we got. The storm drains were designed to handle a specific amount of rainfall and flow. So from time to time, they're exceeded due to the amount of rain and concentration of rain. I do want to let you know that on the storm drains, we put a lot of time into it. In fact, we start checking every storm, and I think we have 400 or so storm drain inlets in town. And we start checking in October and we're methodical about it. The crew basically goes out and that's all they do is check that and water balls on trails. So we start before the rains, we start after the big first flush that flushes things out from private property onto the public storm drains, and we check it again. And we have crews, we've checked those things during the storms multiple times. We've hired private contractor crews along with the fire crews. We'll sometimes during the storm, we had 12 people checking storm drains throughout town. In addition,
Well, I think you do a great job on storm drains. I'm talking about the V, before the storm drain. So from the bus stop over to the Ramey's fence in front of my property. That's what I'm talking about, because that's where the water from all of Golden Oak comes down along the Ramey and Corley fence.
I understand what you're saying. So when I say storm drains, I mean the whole system.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm talking about the V before, so, you know, let's say 50 feet before each storm drain, making a better V.
For clarification, Christy, what you are saying is you don't think the ditches are deep enough and you want. them-
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
The question is that needed? Howard?
We'll take a look at that specific area.
Thank you.
Good.
Okay, any more questions for Howard? Anything more, Howard?
I'm gonna go to B and C.
Yes.
So request for an update on tree removal at Brookside and Dakota Road. Once again, we've concentrated on storm items. So on this item here, I sent out a notification to all residents within 300 feet, and I requested any comments by January, I believe was 6. I didn't receive anything so far. We're gonna schedule the tree for removal. This is the redwood tree at Brookside and Bertola. Of course, I want to schedule it when it's dry weather and when it's safe to do so. So that is in our hands right now, is when that's going to be removed. Any questions on that one?
Howard, yeah, I think if you just give it a push now, it'll all be sorted. Thanks.
Could you say that again?
If you just give it a push now, it'll all be dealt with.
It says push it over. Okay,
So
we've got to keep this meeting moving.
Okay.
So let's get on to item C, 5C.
So request for update on parking signage at Portola Road. I think at the last meeting, I mentioned that we don't plan to go to the ASCC. I know like the committee asked me if the signs at Stonegate, closest to Stonegate, do they have to be installed or not? And they do not have to be. So we're just going to assume that if we move forward, we won't do that for the committee. Per my memo to the council, I think at that time I said, if the design needs to go back to the council or not, and I am talking with the town manager about potentially whether it goes back to the council or not, or whether it basically just goes in the digest to inform the council of updating them of our plans. I am, because of the storms, I did want to focus back on alternatives, if there are alternatives, and I'll talk to Ed Holland about that. So that's where we are right now. That's my report. I did want to touch bases on the rapid flashing beacons also. So on the rapid flashing beacons, and I wanted to bring this up because I wanted to clarify, because Angela spoke to me about it yesterday. So we are in the design phase, and I know in the past people have asked before, but I wanted to clarify that there was a question of, well, why was it budgeted and not constructed yet? In the typical case in public works is that things are designed, and there's a agreement with the public, a consensus. It's designed, and then they go out and look for the funding. And a lot of the times when they apply for the funding, the project's already shovel ready. In our case, we applied for the grant first and we got the money. So I think there's a lot of, if there are people wondering why we didn't build it right away, is because basically we didn't have any design at all. So there are two different scenarios when someone has everything designed and is shovel ready versus, and then getting the money, then not, like in our case. So we are still in design. I am in discussions with Paul Krupka on some initial drawings already. I think I've shared with Ed, the chair, and we're still working on those things. We did do a solar. We had a vendor took a look at the solar option, and the vendor said that the solar options would work. So that's where we are right now. And I think that is it.
Christy, your hand is up again. Can you keep it brief, please?
Yeah, I just want a date on that. It feels pushed down the road, but are you still aiming for June 2023?
That's what we're planning to aim for right now. And once again, I preface that with most places have a design and a project agreed on first and then get the funding. We got the funding.
Okay, and my other comment
Shot
would be, obviously there's accidents there and I'm very interested in getting it going. So there's no accident that I have to go assist with at Golden Oak and Alpine where I live and hear accidents. My other comment is natural storm drain system with the building coming in. Are we ever considering upgrading our system and getting help from any developers that are interested in building in Portola Valley and stepping that up one notch? Just wondering.
So when a developer comes in on all plans, we review the drainage, and if the pipes are needed to be upgraded or not. I want to assure you, I mean, there's a potential tone there that's, I hope, I think there's an assumption that we're not stepping it up, but it is something that I look at and that we look at, that when development comes in, we look at the storm drain and what they contribute to that storm drain and see if they can contribute to upgrading the storm drain system to handle what is being developed. That is a very basic thing that we do. It is all, I can guarantee it all the time.
That's good to hear. I'm just, with more cement, we get more runoff at a faster rate, and we're concerned about that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's time to move on to item 6. I'm on a deadline to leave fairly quickly. So I'd like to move on to item 6, which is a request to the town for information on plans to review, update the circulation element of the general plan. This is the circulation element. It has 8 pages. Mary, are there any plans to update the circulation element? Okay. So we would like to give input, and we would like to know what the timetable is for giving input, and whether it's going to be useful, because we want to have the circulation element consistent with the housing element. We'll have more traffic, more people and things like that. And there are 1 or 2 little things in here that it was last done in 2015. So things that were new then are not new anymore. So we might want to go through it, but we have no subtask to do that at this time because we haven't seen any input from the town as to when this is needed. Ed has his hand up.
Thank you, Angela. Hope you can all still hear me. I think really this is just to put an item onto the agenda to raise that question as perhaps an ongoing thing over the next few months or so. So not ready to demand an answer right now, but to make a request to the council. Are there plans? If so, please let BPTS know how we can be involved and help along with that process.
Okay,
I think it's basically what you were saying, but yes.
I've got to be quick. Caroline Vertonghen, you have your hand up.
Good morning. I would like to add, it's not just the housing element, but priority should be given to the safety element that was adopted in 2010. And I don't understand why this committee, which is the Bicycle Pedestrian Safety Committee, does not have input on the safety element. So if you address this circulation element, please also combine it with the safety element and then look at the housing element. Thank you.
Yes, this is a question that when you look at the safety element, it doesn't actually include traffic safety. And so the question is that the appropriate place to put traffic safety, or and should we be looking at traffic safety as part of the safety element, or does it come under the circulation element? And that's a question for the town. Quick, please.
Yes, I'm concerned about the circulation element of traffic, and I believe I'd like to see a full circulation, including the tributaries and arteries of this town.
Have you read the plan, Christy? Read it first. It does say what the arteries are.
Every artery in town was included in this report, is that right?
Read it first and then write some comments on it, please.
Okay.
Okay, the next thing is the update from the subcommittee on alternative transport and infrastructure. We haven't had any other meetings, and I don't know if Pat has anything to say about that. Okay. C is discuss the committee budget needs for upcoming committee workshop. Ed, do you have anything to say about this upcoming? When do we need to have the budget done?
I'm afraid, I'm sorry, I don't know. I need to refer back to the information I have from Jeremy, but he has called a meeting in March. So I think if we have something to review by the next meeting, I think that will be sufficient. I don't know, maybe.
I mean, normally our budget for this committee is for our events, for you know, the bike to work day and things like that. But if people have ideas, email Ed or the town if you have ideas for what should be on the committee budget.
Thank you.
Okay, number 7, bike to and from work day is it is Thursday, May the 18th. May is bicycle month. The national bike to work week is the 15th to the 21st. And in this area, it is actually the 18th to the 21st is bike to wherever. So the day that the Silicon Valley Bike Coalition is doing a bike to work day is on Thursday, May the 18th, which is our market day. So I don't know if we want to do just the afternoon like we've been doing before, or if we want to do something in the morning as well. But Pat, would you be willing to help with that as you have in the past?
Oh, absolutely. And I think the idea of putting something at the town market is a really good one. And it's something that we should be looking at. And, you know, the thing in the morning around here, and this was an old research thing that we conducted, but there's not that much bike traffic in the morning.
No.
You know, we get a lot more in the afternoon and in the evening, but I think it's worth considering putting something out there, and maybe there's someone else that would be interested in helping me out with the details, elements of the bike to work day, because there's a lot we could do, but we don't want to put our efforts into places that aren't effective.
Okay, the next thing is Earth Day, which is Saturday, April the 22nd. There is nothing on the town calendar, and there is nothing on Woodside's town calendar for April the 22nd. Mary, are we doing anything for Earth Day? I mean, the town in previous years, it's had little booths here, and they've needed help with parking and other things. So, Mary, can I charter you with asking, or Howard asking Jeremy what we're doing for Earth Day on April the 22nd? Okay, Mary can do that. Then there is another event that's not on here. June the 10th is PV Palooza. And I don't know if we need to help with parking for that, or if there's anything we need to, whether we need a booth there, June the 10th. And then there's another biking day, which is Bike to School Day. I'm not sure if we're doing anything with that. So that's, I think, May 7th, National Ride and Bike Day or something. And then Town Picnic is on September 23rd, which is a Saturday. And I guess we'll work with the sheriff's office and so forth to close the roads and do the Zots to Tots race. So there was another date I had. February the 10th is the Volunteer Appreciation Party, to which all who volunteer on the committee are invited. So any other things on our dates? Ed?
Not exactly, but I was contacted by, I think it was somebody involved in Safe Routes to School, Geraldine, I forget the last name. She is wanting to present to the BPTS next month, or as soon as their committee have reviewed the plan for Safe Routes and work jointly with us on that. So I don't know if any dates of things will fall out from that, or we'll learn more about Bike to School Day.
I got the wrong day for Bike to School Day. Bike to School Day is May the 3rd. It's National Ride and Bike Day is May the 7th. But Bike to School Day is actually May the 3rd.
All right, I beg your pardon, this is Jacqueline Davis.
But I'm not sure if our school's doing anything about it, but it is a walking, biking and rolling day on rollerblades. So. Okay. Any other business? We don't have that on the agenda. Well, thank you very much, everybody. The next regularly scheduled meeting will be on the first Wednesday. Ed, you have something to say?
Very quickly after you finish, yes, thank you.
So the first Wednesday of March at 8:15 on Zoom and in the schoolhouse. So you're welcome to come and attend in the schoolhouse in person. Thank you very much, Mary, for attending. Appreciate your help too. Okay.
Yeah, I think the rules may be changing about attendance by next month, so please watch out for a notice about that.
Yes, the rules are actually a little bit different from what it was before COVID regarding the Brown Act. So, yeah.
And I have one more thing. I want to say, Angela, thank you very much for taking over today. I think you did a great job. And also a note to Pat, I'm sorry I didn't see your email first thing this morning. I will take care of the minutes. So let's go from there.
Okay, so we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ed, stay on the line a second.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
Pat, I'm sorry, I had no idea. I'm still sick as a dog as well.
No, that's okay.
I didn't see your message.
I've been taking notes. I did get my call, and I can clean up what I've got. Apparently, this whole thing is recorded anyway, so I'll just go through the recording and make sure that what I have is accurate, and then I can send that to you. Will that be okay?
That would be great. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Hope you get better soon.
Thank you. Yeah, I still tested positive this morning, so
Oh yeah, you look like you're still positive.
it's still pretty well.
My husband just went through this. It's 10 days.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, you just expect it to be 10 days.
Would you believe work is making me take my own PTO while I'm sick?
No.
Yeah, and I got sick on a work trip.
Oh, that's terrible.
I'm going to raid them the riot act when I'm done. I've had enough.
I don't blame you. When you get your voice back.
Thanks, Pat.
You're welcome. Take care.
Take care. You too.
Okay, doc. Very good. Talk to you soon. And I'll just send you the notes directly.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Very good. Thanks.
Uh,